Hello, so because I'm writing my next ebook today, which is all about how I like to live, and I thought I would do a video about it for my life coaching series, Project 2021. How do I like to live? Well, I'm very much now someone who, well, let me start from the beginning. So I've always been someone who's been very functional in the things that I've done in terms of writing. When I used to go dancing school, the only time I hated structure was at school. But I do live in a very sort of functional, structured way, and sometimes I look at it and think it's very static, but doing the work that I do now, I've come to see that I do have a routine. It's just that I don't like to do the same things every day, and I do live quite like seasonal, so like my drink, the things I drink will change, and the things I eat will change. Like summer, I associate salads and having like buffet style meals sometimes, and then winter time it's more like stews, having a roast dinner on a Sunday, having some sort of comfort meals that I love. And I'm very much a homely type of person where I am a typical Londoner, or a typical English girl, where I love my cups of tea. I love my fish and chips, cod chips. I love pie mash. I love steak and chips. I'm not afraid to say it, but if I had to choose between, if I had to choose between having a pint of beer compared to pie mash, it would be pie mash. That would be my choice, because it's just it's one of the meals that I would spend ages queuing up for, because we've got a famous sort of pie mash company called Harrington's, and they have different pie mash stores and shops and restaurants, I would call them, in London, because it is more of a London type meal. Pie mash. Pie mash is basically pie, mashed potato and liquor, and the liquor is made from pea juice. And I know that's going to make you feel like ugh, but it's not. It's actually a very nice meal, and I actually love. I don't know it's ages, but on a Saturday that was one of the main meals we like to. Well, I'm the kind of person who likes to do different things at the weekend compared to what I do during the week, and I've always been like that. I like to use my weekends to do things that I sort of put aside at the time, like reading my book in bed, or I sometimes when I get dressed I will be in my pajamas or my slouch wear, and I'm also the kind of person that when I go on holiday I won't have the same things as what I have at home, when I'm back in my own environment, and I do live differently depending on where I live, I am very much a homegrown London girl, and I love living in London. And I've tried living. I lived in Bognor Regis for about 5 years, because I worked at a holiday camp, and that was something I really wanted to do in my life. And because I enjoyed it as a kid going to a holiday camp, the one I used to go to was in Clapton, and I loved it. It was kind of our every summer holiday until we started going to Menorca, you know, when I move into my new place, which is going to be soon, it just takes so much time, doesn't it, moving, that I will be doing different things there compared to here, because I'm still kind of living with my parents again, and I said to myself that I wouldn't go back to doing that, and I have, but it was because it was the choice that I had at the time, because my marriage that my first marriage, it ended, and you know, it was the right time for me to call it a day, you know. And I am very much, you know, I like to do my own thing. I don't like to be influenced if I don't want to be, but I will learn from people, you know. And I think, you know, the last 6 years that I've had, where I've had real massive breakdown, it made me realise that I do suffer with depression, possibly have PTSD because of things that happened in my life. But I'm not the sort of person who gets beaten, if you know what I mean. I always come back fighting, and I think the last 7 years has made me see how strong I am, you know. And that's when you realise when the shit hits the fan. Is it the shit? Hang on, I've got it totally wrong. Was it when the shit hits the fan? Anyway, you know, when you go through parts of your life where it's you know, very challenging, and you're not sure what's going to happen each day to the next, you could either, you know, close up or continue on. Now, when I am experiencing trauma in my life, I have a tendency to shut down, and I did that when and I don't feel I have the right to say this, but I want to, because I think it's important that, you know, that even events on TV can still affect you, and it did, and it's the Hillsborough disaster. Now, I don't want to go into it because I don't feel I have the right to, really, because I wasn't there, but it did really, you know, really got me in a way that I've never experienced before, and it was just a shock of witnessing such a terrible disaster. And, you know, it was people that was, you know, looking forward to, you know, a cup game, because in England we have a tournament called the FA Cup, which is played each season, and they normally start playing the games around about October, and then it carries on through to the cup final, which is set in normally the first or second weekend of May, and it was just people who were, you know, and I did have a feeling that we were supposed to go to that game, because my dad especially often took us to football matches, mainly at Craven Cottage, which is a field football play, and but it was just, you know, and I was really scared because I thought one of my cousins had gone to the game, because he would go to, he was like the only Liverpool fan in his street, because he lived in Manchester, or Tilsley near Manchester, and they were all Man U fans, and he was like the only Liverpool fan in the street, you know. And I was really worried that he was at the game, you know. And it really, I did, the next day I shut down, quite, you know, I couldn't look at any newspapers, I went quiet, you know, and I did the same when my dad was beaten up around my, I think it was my 11th birthday. We'd been to Southend for the day, and we came back, and my mum got a phone call to say that my dad was in hospital, and he'd been targeted by some football hooligans who were well known to the FA and the police, and so it happened then. And then what I tend to do is stay away from it, until I'm ready to face it, and I did around that time. And then when Henry was born, because he was born premature, and I wasn't sure what would happen each day to next, because I was worried about him, surviving, because he was born at 31 weeks, and it's just, you don't know which way it's going to go, to be honest. I kind of like was not ready. I always tell when I shut down, when I'm not planning for the next day, because I'm a planner. I've always have been, and so for me, I've learnt how to, because when I've gotten over it, well, I can't say that you don't really get over it, but when it kind of eases off, then I will come back fighting. And I think in the last 7 years, I have done that, and I think I'm very much a fighter, and I think I am an example of how you can turn your life around even when you're going through a traumatic time in your life. And I've never been someone who's given up, and but I've always wanted to do something I never thought I could do. I always wanted to be different to what was destined for me, coming from a housing estate, and I'm on the road to there now. It's taken a long time, but now I am working for myself, even though that's been judged by the wrong people. And I think I'm a prime example that it doesn't matter where you come from, as long as you've got a fight and drive in you, that you can, continue on, face challenges that come your way. Don't ignore them, because the more you ignore them, the stronger they become. But, never, my advice is never sit back, and, I hate living a life where it feels like a constant battleground, and the last 7 years it's been like that, and in thinking most of my life it's been like that, and it's taken now for me to, it's amazing how you see things from when you're 5 years old to when you're 42, and honestly the way I see things now is totally different to back then, but I've never lost or forgot where I've come from, and I think that's important too. And I'm that kind of girl who, I've never forgot my roots. I've always respected where I've come from. I've always respected the family that I've had in my life, and friends, and I like to live in a world of respect, not harm or nastiness or jealousy or selfishness. I just want the best for everyone, and I want the world to be a better place where people don't judge, but they allow people to live their lives as long as they're not hurting anyone. And I do want a happier world, and that's why I'm creating these videos, not because I know there are people that probably say I'm talking nonsense, and who am I to change your mind, but I know that there will be people who benefit from these videos, otherwise I won't be doing them. So it's all about so I live my life, and I've realised who I am, and I'm very much a protector, respectful, loyal, but if you hurt me I become your worst enemy. But at the same time, I believe in love, true love. I believe in unconditional love. I believe in soulmates. I believe in premonitions. So that's who I am, and that's important. If you want to change your life around, you need to start finding out who you are, and write it down. Write about who you think you are, And that's not trying to take the negative part out. Who do you think you are? Look at you. Who made you God? That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that find out, who you really are. You know, are you someone that's a protector? Are you someone that's a caregiver? Are you someone that is, you know, very possessive? You know, because that's not always a bad trait, but it can work against you. You know, and you know, and also, you know, are you surrounded by the right kind of love in your life? Because that's important. You know, I wasn't, and I knew I had to change things around, and now I have started to get the right love in my life, and that's important for me. And also, I like to be flexible about the way I live. You know, I like to have days where I don't necessarily plan, but I still want my life to. I like each day now to have a reason for me to be awake, and a reason to, you know, get on with things. You know, and that's who I am. So anyway, I hope this video is helpful to you, and I'll see you next one.